gang, what's going on? So I actually decided today was going to be a good day to just kind of sit around the house and make some food. It's another Sunday. I love just chilling on Sundays. Tomorrow I'm actually going to start a whole new workout system. I love Sundays. Sunday's always been my relaxed day, so today I decided I'd go to the store, pick up a couple of things, and make something that I hadn't made yet. Normally I would go through a couple of the cookbooks that I have, but just wasn't in love with anything today, just wasn't really feeling it, so I thought I would try a gluten-free vegan lasagna. I know, it's crazy. Everybody's like, what, no pasta? Yeah, no pasta. So I'm using eggplant and zucchini. I'm also using yellow squash, carrots, mushrooms, peppers, tomato sauce. I got vegan ricotta cheese, vegan cheese shreds like mozzarella vegan cheese, spinach, so many good things. I almost forgot that I'm putting sweet potato in it too. So right now I'm baking a sweet potato for 45 minutes at 350 degrees. While that's cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and start slicing thin all of my vegetables because obviously it's gotta be in pretty thin layers. I don't have a mandolin that shaves everything down super thin, so I'm doing it by hand, which is kind of a pain in the neck, but totally worth it at the end. Plus I've got 45 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that. So I've actually decided today to combine two different recipes. The first is from a website called Yum Universe. If you go on yumuniverse.com, you can find a gluten-free, dairy-free vegetable lasagna recipe. I'm using that recipe, but I'm kind of combining it with another one. TheseThingsILove.com put together a roasted or grilled vegetable lasagna. Both of these websites have actually got separate recipes for both marinara sauces as well as two nut-based cheese recipes that are going to, of course, be gluten-free and vegan. So again, I'm cooking this potato right now. I'm going to go ahead and get that finished up, start slicing these veggies. You can watch. I'll cut this short so it's not a super long video. Here we go. Garlic is one of my new favorite things. For a while I thought I was allergic to it because I'm allergic to all kinds of crap, but I'm not. Love this stuff. Between garlic and onions, I'm so happy they're back in my life. It's so good. Okay, so on this recipe it's saying that I should take my greens and saute them in olive oil with some garlic. So what I'm gonna do is take a pan, saute that garlic first on medium heat. I don't wanna burn my garlic, which is pretty easy to do. And then I'm just gonna toss the greens in and kind of saute it all for a minute so it's already soft. Should be pretty easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and start that now. Everything else has been cut. Peppers, asparagus, all that jazz ready to go. Amongst other things, I'm also using yellow squash, organic. You can't see that from here, but it is organic, I swear to God. So I've already sliced up my eggplant, my zucchini, slicing up the yellow squash. My sweet potato has 15 minutes left. I need to move faster than this probably. I'm also using pre-sliced baby bella mushrooms, red and yellow peppers, asparagus, and spinach. Organicville, organic marinara sauce. So I'm currently roasting a little garlic here. That's like 3 small cloves. Then I'm just gonna chuck in some spinach. Then we can start putting this thing together. If you're as old as me, everybody in your house, oh. That is so ghetto. Depending on how old you are, you definitely have one of these Corningware. You've seen this Corningware stuff before. It's all white with the little flowery pattern on the front. So this is what I'm gonna make my lasagna in. And it's got a top, so I'm gonna cook it with the top on it so that it can kind of overflow without melting into my oven. Okay, so my baked potato's done. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. Grab it with something other than my hands, so I'm gonna use a pair of tongs. Thing's pretty hot. So this recipe tells me that I should slice it. It's easier to put in there, I think, but if it's too hot and your potato's too soft, you can go ahead and just spoon it in. So just like peel it and then spoon some of it in there and rub it around into as you're building your lasagna. It's hot, but it's not terrible. So I'm gonna try cutting it and we'll see what happens. All right, that's just getting hot enough now that the garlic is starting to brown up just a touch, so I don't wanna let that happen anymore, so we're gonna start getting some spinach in here. I usually even though this package just says it's been triple washed, I always recommend you look through your lettuce. The other day I opened one of these things and there was a bug in it. So you don't want to eat that. I mean, you might. Extra protein, who knows? That's not vegan. It's amazing how fast that stuff cooks down. So you'll fill your entire pan up with spinach and then it'll cook down and you realize it's not that much. So don't be afraid to throw some extra in there. While I'm thinking about it, I didn't turn my oven off. It's still set at 350. I think that's what I'm cooking at, but even if I'm not, if I have to turn it up a little bit, it'll only take a couple of seconds as opposed to however long it takes to start from cold, so that's cool. So since that was pretty low heat, I'm just gonna leave it in the pan and push it aside, take it off the heat. It should be fine right there. The recipe says to put it in a bowl. I'm not gonna put it in a bowl, it's fine right there. I'm all about using less dish than I have to use because I never wash them. So, that's what I'm doing. Potatoes getting cut up now, throw in some peppers, and then I think we're ready to put this bad boy together. So when I was working in restaurants, I learned from a couple of chefs that you gotta cut the ribs out of the pepper or they give it a bitter flavor. No bitter flavors here. So I'm cutting this on a diagonal. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm trying to cut them super thin, so I'm actually laying my knife out flat and cutting them on a diagonal so that they cut thin. Thin's the name of the game with this recipe. So I'm just gonna compare these two recipes real quick and see if they look pretty similar. One's on the computer, one's on this. So I think that what I'm gonna do is go ahead and try to do 325 for 1 hour after I put all this stuff together. I'm at 350 right now, so I'm gonna cut it down a little bit. Since it was already at 350, I'm gonna leave the door open for a second, give it a chance to kind of blow some of that hot air out of there. Break it back down to 325. Give it a couple of minutes. While it's doing that, let's go ahead and put this thing together. Okay, so it's telling me the first thing I need to do is take my zucchini, my squash, and my eggplant and lay them into one thin layer, just like a slice thick across the bottom, and just treat those like they're noodles. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with that. I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of alternate using, the green, the yellow, and the eggplant, just so that there's like an even blend of all of those things. You could even do something crazy like just do the bottom layer all squash and then do one layer of eggplant and then one layer of zucchini. In fact, that might be how I'll do this. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do one layer of zucchini. No, I'll go squash first. So I was able to get that to just cover the bottom of the pan just like that. Pretty simple. Okay, so now I wanna go ahead and add the stuff that's like the filler. So I wanna add my peppers, my mushrooms, my spinach, and the sweet potato. Get those guys in there as a nice little thin layer. So I'm gonna just do some red pepper, some yellow pepper, get those mushrooms in there. If they're really big, I'm just gonna break them up a little bit. I'm taking the stems out too, just in case I get one that's tough. I don't wanna have a weird bite. Cool. Oven's ready to go at 325. Sweet potato. Don't wanna forget my asparagus, so I'm throwing that in here too. I've always liked my traditional lasagna is cheesy, but you can do cheesy in a healthier way for yourself. So I always use vegan cheese. They're all mostly nut-based. I got one at the store that is an almond mozzarella style cheese. This is the Follow Your Heart Vegan Gourmet Mozzarella Shreds. It's non-dairy, non-soy, non-gluten. This is a little bit out of my norm because it's definitely tofu, but you know what? It's not what you do all the time. It's what you do most of the time, right? So this is a dairy-free, no butter, no dairy, no gluten, no animal products, tofuti ricotta cheese. So I'm gonna splurge a little bit today and have something awesome. Okay, so this says just start spooning dollops of this stuff into the middle of your first layer. Oh, weird. So this is obviously less moist than regular ricotta cheese. Interested to see how it works. It breaks up more like feta than like a ricotta cheese. So let's go ahead and give it a shot here. We'll just put some of it in here. If this works anything like regular ricotta cheese, I'm gonna put a ton of it in here and I'm gonna make sure I get it to the outsides too, because that's always the good stuff. So a lot of recipes and in a couple of videos that you've seen me use in the past, I've used Daiya cheese. This is not Daiya. Again, this is a vegan gourmet shreds from Follow Your Heart. I find Daiya to be a little bit oily, and I was thinking that since I was gonna be baking this for a while, I didn't want this to end up just being like a soupy mess. So I went with what I thought was a drier cheese. So I'm using these guys instead. So I'm gonna toss in a short layer of these guys, or a thin layer of this stuff too. Half tempted to do all three. You only live once, right? So here we go. Never had this one before. It's definitely mozzarella style cheese. It tastes like mozzarella, but it's all almond. It's pretty awesome. So I'm just gonna break off a chunk and then crumble it in here. It's probably plenty. That first middle layer is gonna be amazing. All right, so like you would imagine, let's go back to our sauce. I'm gonna do a full coating here. So get the zoom action in. This is our first coating. Looks pretty good. Now we're just gonna go ahead and repeat the process. Oh, don't forget your spinach. I forgot to put spinach on this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and toss that right in the middle. Just try to like spread it around. The garlic smells fantastic. So the spinach all just went in on one layer, so I stuck it right in the middle. I did my first layer of veggies, the cheese, the sauce, and then I went ahead and did spinach right on top of it. Now it looks amazing. Check that out. Boom. I'm just gonna repeat the process. It's already pretty full, this pan. So I'm thinking I'm gonna alternate these guys. I already realized I've cut even more than I needed on any of these vegetables. So some of these guys are not going in. I'm just gonna have to save them and use them in something else tomorrow. Oh darn. So we're gonna throw the rest of this guy on here. I'm gonna get, I think the sweet potato is gonna be a really awesome addition to this, so I'm gonna make sure I get all of this sweet potato on here. So as you can see, this guy's pretty full already. So I think that what I'm gonna do is go ahead and do some more sauce over the top, but do a light layer so it doesn't bubble over, and then just totally top the rest with cheese and call it game. I got most of what I cut in there, but like half the eggplant didn't make it, and I cut way too much zucchini. So you'll see, depending on your pan and how much you decide and how many people you need to feed, you may use it all, you may not, but just save it and cook it into something else tomorrow. All right, so here we go. Time for cheese and more cheese and cheese. So I'm gonna go ricotta first, then sauce. And I'm just gonna kind of lightly sauce the top. I don't know if I've ever actually used this marinara before, so I'm hoping it's good. This thing is either gonna be amazing or a total disaster, so we're gonna find out soon. This is pretty exciting. Looks pretty darn good. So this says to bake uncovered at 325 for 1 hour. I'm a little terrified that it's gonna spill over, so I'm gonna put the pan it's in on a baking sheet just to kind of play it safe. Fire when ready. All right, 1 hour. Let's see what we can get into in an hour. I'll come right back as soon as this is done, because it'll happen just like... It actually looks really good. It definitely toasted the top of that cheese instead of melting it, which is kind of weird. I think the Daiya would have melted better. But like I said, that Daiya cheese is just oily. I like it, I love it. I do, I like it a lot on certain things, but I just thought it might be weird on this, so I didn't use it. That looks pretty darn good. Okay, so here's what the recipe says. Stick a top on it and let it sit for 45 minutes. Tomorrow, everybody knows if you've ever had lasagna ever, tomorrow is the best day for it. All the layers will hold up really nice, it'll all set really nicely. I'm hungry, so I think that what I'll do is let it sit for maybe half an hour and then cut into it. Throw the top on it, stick it in the fridge, and check back again tomorrow. I'm gonna go ahead and take a couple shots of this so that I can put it on Instagram, let it sit for about half an hour, and then we'll cut into it and see how it looks. So while I'm waiting for this thing to finish, I want to take a second and thank everybody again for watching this channel. Slowly but surely, more subscribers, had a couple new ones today. People are definitely starting to follow on Instagram, which is really awesome. So thank you to all of you, I definitely appreciate that. Don't forget, if you're all about this channel and you want to support the cause, GoFundMe.com/US Organic. Make a quick donation. Those donations are all going to go to promotional products to try to make this a company instead of just a channel. I'm going to try to really get myself out in the Tampa area, so that would be a lot of help. Thank you very much. Again, you can follow me on Instagram at US Organic. You can also check me out on Twitter or on Periscope at US Organic TV. I'm all over the place. Facebook, US Organic as well. Side note, I'm thinking about losing the beard. Tell me what you think, yes or no on the beard. I'm gonna wait like one more day before I do something extreme. Folks, again, my name is Nick. Thank you so much for watching. This has been another episode of US Organic.